Shake off the excess water. You don't need to use too much water. Mop the whole window, missing the frame slightly by a couple of millimeters so as not to get water all over the frames, and this will minimize detailing left to do. The idea is to get as close to the frame as possible without wetting the frame. The blade will carry the water over this slight gap, but be careful not to leave more than a few millimeters, otherwise the result will suffer, especially if the windows are very dirty. One pass of the mop is generally sufficient. Develop an eye for recognizing when windows are a little more dirty and need more of a scrub. Hold the squeegee handle lightly in the center of your palm. Start by cutting into the top corner. Keep the squeegee moving as you move it to the opposite corner, again at an angle. Guide the blade with your thumb and forefinger and keep your wrist relaxed to allow free movement as you turn the blade. The blade must run sharp on the window to achieve best results. Too close to the window or too much pressure and the blade will be bent, causing a blunt edge, leaving watermarks. Too far the other way and the rubber will judder. Sweep the blade down and turn your palm upwards so that you can bring the squeegee back over in a rainbow shape. Make sure you bring it up high enough to be above the water on the window. Continue making these sweeping rainbow shapes until you finish at the bottom. Try to finish with the blade at the bottom edge so that the water runs off at the bottom rather than the sides so as to minimize detailing. Use a couple of fingers inside the dry cloth to tidy up around the edges where necessary. If your mopping and squeegee technique was good, there shouldn't be much detailing to do. If you're just starting, keep practicing this with a 12-inch squeegee until you have the hang of it. Then increase the length of the blade you use. Once you've mastered this technique, you could speed things up by employing both hands as you work. Start by mopping in from the top left corner with your left hand and follow with the blade in your right hand. Rather than trying to keep the tools together, allow the mop to go ahead of the blade. As you pass over with the blade, look out for stubborn stains. Try and develop a good eye for seeing grease marks and stubborn dirt so that you can go back over to give an extra pass of the mop where needed. Not only is it a lot quicker, but it is more effective. Usually window cleaning in the sun on a hot day is difficult because water will start to evaporate quickly on the windows. If it dries too much, the water will not be carried away by the squeegee and will result in a shadow being left on the window. By using this two-handed technique, the water does not have time to dry, meaning you can achieve good results even when working in the hot sun. On a windy day, water spray can cause problems. Notice how, as this window cleaner cleans the window, the spray gets whipped up back onto the window. Now watch, as he works in the same direction as the wind, the spray lands on the part of the window that he is about to clean. Obviously on a day like this, the less water the better, so the two-handed technique is helpful once again. When cleaning inside, the aim is to make as least mess as possible with the water. Squeeze out excess water from the applicator so that it no longer drips with water. The two-handed technique of mopping and blading at the same time is useful again here. This time though, try to keep the applicator under the falling water as you blade to catch the drips. Not only does this reduce the mess, but since the mop catches the water, the applicator will stay wet, but not too wet, for a long time. Rather than dipping the applicator in a bucket to re-wet it, which can be messy, use a spray bottle held in a bottle holder pouch like this. The solution can be sprayed directly onto the applicator. A spray is also good for cleaning Georgian windows or leaded windows. Use two cloths, a damp cloth to work in the solution and a dry cloth to polish the window. Another alternative is to dab the windows with the end of the mop, and then use the two cloths to finish. By being methodical and working one row at a time, you can use two hands, one with the damp cloth and one with the dry cloth, and mirror the action so that you can clean two windows at a time. These techniques are fine if the windows are not very dirty. However, if the windows are dirty, then better results are achieved by using a small applicator and a blade. Again, you can speed things up by using two hands, one hand with the squeegee, whilst the other hand follows with a cloth doing the detailing. Whichever method you use, be methodical and do one section at a time. Similar techniques can be used on leaded windows. So far we've been looking at ground level window cleaning. But what about cleaning windows above ground level? Working at height is a dangerous task and many people are injured each year as a result of falling from height. Before carrying out any work, an assessment should be made as to the safest way to carry out the task at hand. This is called a risk assessment. A risk assessment is an evaluation of risks and consequences involved in carrying out a certain task, and what controls you will put in place to minimize the risks. Whenever possible, working at height, such as using ladders, should be avoided. Health and safety regulations which came into force in the UK in April 2005 stated that every employer should ensure that work is not carried out at height where it is reasonably practicable to carry out the work safely otherwise than at height. This recent legislation acted as a catalyst for many window cleaners to purchase a water-fed pull system, which is certainly a wise investment. However, all window cleaners can comply with the working at height regulations regardless of whether they use a water-fed pull system or not. A skilled window cleaner can achieve good results up to a height of 10 meters or 30 feet using a traditional extension pole. With the introduction of water-fed pulls, the traditional extension pole has been somewhat overlooked. There is no doubt that water-fed pulls are a fantastic tool for cleaning windows, particularly windows above ground level. However, water-fed pulls do have their limits when it comes to first-time cleans or indoor work. If you are skilled in the use of an extension pole, there may be times when using traditional methods may even be quicker at how to clean windows using traditional extension poles.